watching TVP World Talks, where every word matters. Now, words alone will not stop countries such as Russia, Iran, Belarus from evading sanctions. The problem is that these countries are becoming increasingly sophisticated, and many say that it is a losing battle. But is it really the case? We're going to talk about this with our guest today, Dmitry Bolkunets, political analyst. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Hello.
So let's begin with a very general statement. Insofar as the effectiveness of sanctions is concerned, are you a skeptic or an enthusiast? Do you think that they are really working, even if perhaps they might actually need a bit of work to be even more effective?
Yes and no. Because
that's a diplomatic answer.
Yeah, it's one hand sanctions, just some effects on Russian economy, but another way, Russia use some countries for not that help Russia to continue trade. For example, last year was trade from Germany and France to Russia cars for total sum about 3.5 billion euro. Why it's happened? Because look, Ukraine asked Germany help with cars for war. Zero received from Germany. But in the time, Germany export cars to Russia. Why? Because it's business. And Russia continue to do business, and Euro Union continue doing business with Russia, using Kyrgyzstan, using Kazakhstan, Armenia, Belarus, and Turkey also.
So they're really just intermediaries, right? I mean, there is Kyrgyzstan or Kazakhstan on the invoice, but this doesn't mean that the goods are going anywhere to Central Asia. They might be there for a moment, and then the shipping containers are making their way into Russia. Is it really possible to monitor that? I mean, the border between Russia and Kazakhstan alone, that's, I think, 7,000 kilometers. That would be a bit of a losing battle there, trying to monitor that.
I think they no need to export in real these goods to Kazakhstan, because probably it's only on the paper. And they export to Moscow, to St. Petersburg and other cities of Russia. But they just prepare some fake papers or real fake papers, but this all trades, all these goods go to Russia. It was like after 2014, after first the sanctions measures, all these products, for example, go to Belarus or some other countries, like some products that was banned on Russian market, they use in Belarus like a proxy country to export to Russian market. But my view, it's possible to close all market for Russia and stop war in few weeks. It's real. What Euro Union must do? Close all border for all goods. For Kyrgyzstan, close border. Just close border between Euro Union and Russia for all goods, for all products. Just for 1 week, for 2 weeks. And Putin will lose money. Yes, but some European countries will lose money. But what happened now? Why is not on the Euro Union? Why is on Ukraine? And businessmen who continue business with Putin no care about war. They not care about, they just thinking about business, in real business. Is it difficult to close all sea for Russia in Black and Baltic Sea? No. It's not difficult to close all this trade ways for Russian ships.
Well, you mean direct trade. What
Yes.
about trade through intermediary countries?
Yes.
Would you really, when implementing this policy, would it be necessary to suspend trade with Central Asia as well? I mean, that would probably have the sort of ripple effect, because there are many benefits from trading with Central Asia, not least the energy sector, for example, one of the ways to diversify trade. So if we completely shut down all trade there, well, would the European Union be still able to maintain the functioning of certain areas of industry where it had to diversify, basically just, avoiding buying gas or oil from Russia, but buying them from Central Asian countries?
I think before war, the share of the Central Asia countries for Euro Union was 0.0. Is not main countries with whom Euro Union was trade before war. After February 2020 or 2022, these countries became one of the bigger partners for some countries like Italy, like Germany, France, etc.
Germany is one of the biggest importers of oil from Kazakhstan right now. I mean, it's the other way around. Kazakhstan is like the third biggest supplier of oil to Germany. Okay, so let me just be clear.
In these days, Chancellor Scholz now visit the Central Asia countries. What he will be speaking about that? He will be speaking how to continue trade, how to increase trade between Germany and Kyrgyzstan, or with some other countries there. But in real, it will be a trade between Germany and Russia. It's true.
So you think that this is basically a visit that's a smokescreen for maintaining trade relations with Russia, despite the official stance that Germany supports sanctions?
Of course, because my view now for stop war need close all trade between Russia and the Euro Union, using also proxy countries. It's not need some sanctions measures, just close border for all cargo, for all trains. For all trains from Euro Union to Russia, to Kyrgyzstan, to Kazakhstan, to Armenia.
What about China in that case? China has been accused of facilitating trade with China. But would the European Union be able to, again, sustain its economy without being able to trade with such an important partner? Wouldn't it be better to use secondary sanctions on selected entities? Apparently, according to reports, some Chinese banks are rejecting transactions from Russia because they fear that they will fall victim to secondary sanctions.
It's a way how to stop war in this few weeks or few days, because it's a way how to press for Putin and said him, okay, please stop war. And China will send him message, stop war, because it's trade, because it's. But now, what if we analyze in the Russian economy in the last 2 years, they in many times increase export. Russia receive a lot of benefits from this war.
Continues to grow. Yes, over 3%, 2024 estimated GDP growth.
And another way how to stop this war, to help Ukraine. With some products, etc. Ukraine now ask European Union weapons and receive not enough. Okay, what difficult from France or from UK to help Ukraine and give for Ukraine, for example, nuclear weapon. And war will
a nuclear weapon for Ukraine.
And this war will stop in a few days.
Too far. I mean, I know the West has facilitated the destruction of the Ukrainian nuclear arsenal, and this has exposed Ukraine to aggression. But if a nuclear weapon arrived in Ukraine today, I mean, even if we consider Russian red lines to be mostly fictitious, that probably might actually elicit some really dangerous response from the Kremlin, don't you think?
Look, Putin gave a nuclear weapon for Belarus. Why, for example, France not decided to give this nuclear weapon for Baltic states, for Finland, for Poland? Why? For Romania?
There was initial talk about nuclear sharing, but NATO has not followed up on that.
And Putin will stop this war after that in few days, because he will not continue this war. If Euro Union continue trade with Putin using some other countries, he receive money. Euro Union finance this war.
Is it just the European Union, though? I mean, American companies have been reported to continue to trade with Russia, like oil companies that facilitate the operation of oil industries. Apparently, they were still keeping subsidiaries in Russia. One company has just renamed its subsidiary and continued doing business. So wouldn't that need to be a concerted effort, both the EU and the US being involved?
Of course, but US is not in Europe, and yes, probably Russian companies continue some cooperation with US companies, but there are some very strong measures that need to do. For example, ban all traffic on the sea for Russian goods on Baltic and Black Sea is very easy. And Putin do nothing because he haven't opportunities to do something against Turkey or about some Denmark, for example.
What about the shadow fleet? Like, apparently the Russian ships are being registered in Gabon and they can still...
Greece, for example.
I mean, yeah, that was an earlier example there. But how much control can you exert over these ships? I mean, you would need to essentially verify every single vessel from any country that has any sort of relationship with Russia. So would you need to include these countries on the list as well?
It's difficult to control these ships because it's many ships, and sometimes they just change some papers or some ships. But my view is very easy to block this corridor on Black Sea and in Baltic Sea, because they're using these two main ports in Baltic and Black Sea. Russia using these ports for export products, grain and oil products.
Also stolen grain, grain stolen from Ukrainian farmland, essentially.
And you know who is now the one of the main benefit from export Russian oil? India. They just using India for re-export oil products to Euro market. All known about that, but they continue do it because it's easy. Continue receive money from the strait.
So that's just rebranding the oil and selling it on, right?
Yes. But I think Euro Union must to rethinking the strategy against Russia, because it's not any effective. 1,000 days now war between Russia and Ukraine. In a couple of weeks it will be, but sanctions is not. Is sanctions now have some effective for stop war? No, it's continue. And how many people died on this war? And why businessmen continue trade between aggressor? Why politics in the Euro Union allows this businessmen continue war? This one,
that's a great question, actually. Do you think European governments should, for example, employ certain tax disincentives with regard to companies still doing business in Russia, telling them, look, okay, if you're doing business in the Russian Federation, you're going to pay higher taxes because you're actually creating certain risks to our economy, making it more expensive for us as like the government, the state, because we have to employ more additional measures to protect our allies and so on.
Of course, good idea. The second idea, I think it's very true. If they continue trade between Putin and Euro Union, okay, these taxes must be 400%, for example. Okay.
Will European governments be bold enough to do that? It's often said that they are dependent upon big businesses.
But it's a moral aspect, firstly, my view, because they continue receive money. They trade between aggressor. In one way, some European countries help Ukrainians, help Ukraine, but in other way, the companies from the same countries continue trade with Putin. They spent money, they gave money for Putin, and I think it's moral aspect, firstly. Because it's dangerous, because Putin analyzing this story, and he continues this war because he understands the sanctions is not working.
And he understands that you will still have people in the West who will be willing to do business even despite the war crimes committed, which, as we have concluded, is a regrettable state of affairs. Dmitry Bolkunets was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us. And I'm Jonasz Rowniński. You're watching TVP World. Please stay with us for more latest news and updates.